What if the silence you are trying so desperately to decode is not a puzzle meant to be solved, but simply empty space? Have you ever noticed how a single furrowed brow, a slight shift in tone, or a fleeting glance can consume your thoughts and steal your peace? If you have ever felt emotionally exhausted, anxious, or invisible because you are constantly trying to read between the lines, this is for you. Stay until the end, because the final lesson may change the way you see this pain forever. 1. The exhaustion of reading between the lines. Here is the truth few people want to face. Most of your suffering is not caused by what happened. It is caused by how tightly you are holding on to the meaning you assigned to it. You see a small facial expression, a slight frown from a friend, a brief hesitation from a boss, a distant look in the eyes of someone you love. Immediately, your mind goes to work. You ask yourself, what did I do wrong? You replay conversations from days ago. You search for hidden meanings. You build a heavy, suffocating fortress of worry out of a single, passing shadow on someone's face. This is the heavy labor of overthinking. You become a restless detective of things that may not even exist, searching for clues in the quiet, empty spaces of human interaction. In Buddhist thought, much of our suffering comes not from reality, but from the stories our minds invent to explain reality. The mind is a tireless storyteller. When it encounters the unknown, when a piece of information is missing, it panics. It often prefers the painful certainty of a negative story over the quiet discomfort of simply not knowing. We mistakenly believe that if we can just figure out what that look meant, we will finally be safe. But this endless analyzing is a deep trap of attachment. We attach ourselves to the impossible need to manage the inner worlds of other people. Imagine standing at the edge of a still lake. A sudden, cold gust of wind ripples the surface, completely distorting the clear reflection of the sky. If you panic and try to smooth the water with your bare hands, you will only create more turbulence. You will stir up the mud from the bottom, making the water dark and cloudy. The only way the lake becomes clear again is if you step back and leave it alone. Let the wind blow. Let the ripples fade on their own time. In your daily life, other people's fleeting moods are exactly like that wind. A co-worker's sharp sigh, a partner's sudden quietness, a friend's delayed reply. These are passing breezes. When you plunge your hands into their temporary weather, trying to fix it, trying to force an immediate explanation, you only destroy your own stillness. You drown in waters that were never yours to calm. Think about your own life. How much of your vital, beautiful energy is spent trying to solve the mystery of someone else's mind? What are you truly afraid will happen if you simply let them feel what they feel, without making it your responsibility? Pause. Breathe. The next time you catch yourself dissecting a passing glance, stop. Observe the fearful thought without following it down the dark hallway of panic. Let the feeling rise without making it your identity. You do not have to chase a shadow that is already leaving, because peace is not found in having every question answered. It is found in realizing that not every question needs an answer. But stepping away from the urge to decode others is only the first step, and this is where the next truth begins. 2. The illusion of certainty and control. What if the harder you try to secure your place in someone's life by reading their mind, the more unsafe you actually feel? Here is a difficult truth. When you dissect a small frown, a brief sigh, or a distracted gaze, you are not actually looking for the truth. You are looking for control. You mistakenly believe that if you can just figure out exactly what the other person is feeling, you can manage their reaction. You think that by anticipating their anger, disappointment, or withdrawal, you can change your behavior to prevent it. You become a chameleon, constantly shifting your colors to match the unpredictable weather of their face. This is the heavy burden of trying to keep everyone happy. We overanalyze because we are terrified of being caught off guard. We want absolute certainty in a world that is inherently uncertain. One of the deepest lessons of Buddhism is the understanding of impermanence, and how our attachment to control creates our deepest suffering. Everything in this universe is constantly shifting, especially human emotions. A mood is just a temporary visitor in the mind. It arrives, stays for a little while, and leaves. Yet, we try to freeze these fleeting moments, lock them in a box, and label them as permanent facts about our own self-worth. We try to control the uncontrollable. Buddhist wisdom reminds us that trying to mold the external world to secure your internal peace is a battle you will always lose. Imagine holding a handful of fine, dry sand. If you hold your hand open, flat, and relaxed, the sand rests gently in your palm. It stays safely with you. But the moment you become afraid of losing it, the moment you panic and clench your fist tightly, the sand immediately begins to slip through the cracks of your fingers. The harder you squeeze, the more you lose. The very act of trying to force the sand to stay is what pushes it away. Human relationships and interactions operate by the exact same law. When you walk into a room, sense a heavy energy, and frantically try to fix it when you ask if they are mad at you for the 5th time, or over-explain yourself to someone who is simply tired, you are clenching your fist. You are suffocating the natural, temporary flow of their emotion. In your desperate attempt to force connection and safety, you create distance. In your rush to find certainty, you create endless anxiety. Ask yourself, who are you constantly trying to manage? What are you truly afraid will happen if you simply let someone else be quiet, without making it your fault? Is your relentless analyzing bringing you peace, or is it feeding your fear? Pause. Breathe. You do not need to fix every silence. You do not need to be the designated peacekeeper of every room you enter. When someone's face shifts, observe the shift without writing a tragedy in your head. Do your part, offer quiet kindness, then release the outcome. Stop trying to force the door open. You are not powerless. But true power is found in stepping back. Let others experience their own inner weather. You are not responsible for catching every drop of rain that falls in another person's sky. But letting go of control is not just about leaving others alone. It is about confronting the heavy narratives we silently carry inside our own minds. And this is where the next truth begins. 3. The burden of imagined stories. What if the thoughts keeping you awake at night are fighting a war that never actually happened? Here is the truth few people want to face. We suffer far more in imagination than in reality. You notice a micro-expression, a partner looking away too quickly, or a friend offering a smile that does not quite reach their eyes. In a fraction of a second, your mind writes an entire tragedy. You convince yourself they are losing interest, that you are a burden, or that you have done something unforgivable. You carry the crushing weight of a rejection or a betrayal that only exists inside your own head. This is the exhausting labor of imagined stories. We take a tiny, neutral detail and construct a massive, terrifying narrative around it. We spend our days defending ourselves against judgments no one has actually made, apologizing for mistakes that were never noticed, and grieving losses that have not occurred. It is a deeply lonely place to live, trapped in the echo chamber of your own worst fears. Buddhist wisdom teaches that our minds have a powerful habit of multiplying our suffering. In Buddhist thought, there is a vital distinction between the raw reality of the present moment and the complex stories we weave around it. The reality is simply what happened. A person sighed. The suffering is the story you attach to it. They sighed because I am not good enough. Buddhism reminds us that peace comes when we learn to observe the mind without blindly believing every story it tells us. You are not the fearful voice in your head. You are the quiet awareness listening to it. Imagine a bird deeply panicked, frantically flapping its wings inside a small cage. It beats against the iron bars, exhausting itself, shedding feathers in a desperate bid for survival. It believes it is trapped, fighting for its life, against an invisible threat. But if the bird were to simply stop, be still, and look around, it would see that the door to the cage has been wide open the entire time. The cage was never locked. The bird is entirely free, but it remains a prisoner to its own panic. How often do you put yourself inside that very same cage? You send a message and receive a brief, unenthusiastic reply. Immediately, the panic begins. You start flapping against the bars of your own insecurities. You replay your last 3 interactions, searching for where you went wrong. You assume they are angry, that you are being ignored, or that the connection is fading. But in reality, they might just be tired, fighting a headache, or worried about their own heavy burdens. The door is open. Reality is neutral. The only thing trapping you is the story you chose to believe. Think about your own life. What painful stories are you currently holding on to? When you analyze someone's quietness, are you actually observing them, or are you just projecting your own deepest insecurities onto their silent face? How many times has your mind predicted an emotional disaster that never actually arrived? Pause. Breathe. The next time you feel the panic rising from a small, unexplained gesture, stop. Separate the fact from the fiction. The fact is simply what happened. The fiction is what your fear says it means. Let the feeling rise without making it your identity. You do not have to believe every terrifying story. Your mind invents. Because peace is not about knowing exactly what everyone is thinking. It is about trusting yourself to be okay, even when you do not know. But untangling yourself from these stories requires facing the deep discomfort of empty space. And this is where the next truth begins. 4. The wisdom of the unknowable. What if the empty spaces you are so desperate to fill with answers were never meant to be filled at all? Here is a truth that is incredibly difficult to accept. You will never fully know what is happening inside the mind of another human being. The tighter you hold on to the need for certainty, the more you suffer. When someone you care about goes quiet, or gives you a look you cannot easily decipher, your mind treats the mystery as a dangerous threat. You demand a resolution. You push for explanations. If they say nothing is wrong, you refuse to believe them. You quietly obsess, digging through past interactions, searching for the missing puzzle piece. We falsely believe that if we just knew every detail, every fleeting thought, and every hidden reason behind their mood, we would finally feel secure. One of the deepest lessons of Buddhism is finding profound peace in the unknown. In Buddhist thought, the desperate urge to know everything is simply another form of craving. It is the ego trying to build solid ground in a world that is always shifting. Buddhism reminds us that true stillness comes when we practice non-attachment to answers. We must learn to sit quietly in the space of not knowing, without letting our minds rush to fill the silence with fear or assumptions. Imagine a small seed planted deep in the dark earth. For the seed to transform, it requires the dark, silent unknown. It must crack open in a place where no one can see it. If you were to walk out into the garden and dig up that seed every single morning, desperate to know exactly what is happening beneath the soil, you would kill the root before it ever reached the light. The seed does not need your anxious observation to grow. It needs the quiet mystery of the dark. The people in your life need this exact same space. When a friend becomes distant, when a partner sits in silence, or when a family member seems suddenly closed off, they are often just processing their own internal world. When you constantly interrogate them, when you ask for the 10th time what they are thinking, or demand to know if you did something wrong, you are digging up the seed. In your rush to soothe your own discomfort with the unknown, you disrupt their quiet space. You demand that their internal process happen on your schedule. Think about that. Ask yourself, why does another person's silence feel so deeply dangerous to you? What are you truly afraid will happen if you simply leave the unknown alone? Is your demand for answers genuinely about helping them, or is it about trying to calm your own panicked mind? Pause, breathe. Let the unknown exist. The next time you encounter a silence you cannot instantly decode, step back. You do not need to shine a flashlight into every quiet corner of someone else's mind. Observe the silence without trying to solve it. Let the feeling of uncertainty rise without making it your identity. Because peace is not found in uncovering every hidden meaning. It is found in resting safely in the mystery. But to truly rest, you must stop absorbing the emotional weight of everyone around you. And this is where the next truth begins. 5. Detaching from the weather of others. What if the storm blowing through someone else's life was never meant to be your rain? Here is a truth that is deeply difficult for a caring heart to accept. You are not required to absorb the heavy energy of everyone around you. You notice a slight tension in a friend's jaw, a sharp edge in a colleague's voice, or a heavy sigh from your partner. Instantly, your own mood plummets. You take their frustration, their exhaustion, or their quietness, and you pull it directly into your own chest. You walk on eggshells. You shrink. You frantically try to alter your behavior to change their emotional climate. This is the exhausting habit of emotional enmeshment. We mistakenly believe that empathy means suffering right alongside the people we love. We think that if someone else is unhappy, it is selfish for us to remain at peace. In Buddhist thought, true compassion does not mean drowning with the person you are trying to save. One of the deepest lessons of Buddhism is the practice of equanimity, the ability to keep your own heart open and balanced, no matter what chaos is swirling around you. Buddhism reminds us that every individual is the owner of their own karma, their own mind, and their own emotions. You can offer kindness, you can offer presence, but you cannot carry their inner world for them. When you constantly absorb their reactions, you are not healing them. You are only doubling the amount of suffering in the room. Imagine a tall, ancient mountain standing quietly under the sky. Throughout the day, the weather around the peak constantly changes. Heavy, dark rain clouds gather, fierce winds howl. Sometimes, a violent thunderstorm completely swallows the view, but the mountain does not panic. It does not try to fight the wind or apologize for the rain. It does not absorb the lightning into its stone. It simply remains firmly rooted in the earth, allowing the weather to arrive, rage, and eventually pass. The weather chests everything around it, but the mountain remains exactly what it is. In your life, the changing moods of the people around you are just passing weather. You walk into your home, and someone is slamming doors and radiating frustration. You sit at a dinner table, and the energy is suddenly cold and distant. When you instantly assume you are the cause of their storm, or when you desperately try to fix their bad mood, you are losing your grounding. You are letting a temporary cloud dictate your deep internal foundation. Ask yourself, why do you feel that someone else's unhappiness is a direct reflection of your own worth? When the people around you are struggling, do you remain a steady mountain, or do you let their wind blow you completely away? What would happen if you simply allowed them to be upset without making it your absolute duty to change it? Pause. Breathe. The next time you sense a heavy mood shifting in the room, stop. Do not rush to fix it. Do not immediately assume it is your fault. Let the storm pass without becoming the storm. Offer a quiet, gentle presence, but do not sacrifice your own stillness. Because peace is not about controlling the emotional weather of your environment. It is about building a foundation so deep that no passing wind can uproot you. But holding that quiet foundation requires giving yourself permission to stop reacting entirely. And this is where the next truth begins. 6. The power of the pause. What if the most powerful response to a sudden shift in someone's mood is to do absolutely nothing at all? Here is a truth that goes against everything your anxiety tells you. We are deeply trained to react instantly. When you scan a room and see a micro-expression, a sudden tension in the jaw, a look of annoyance, or a flash of something unreadable, on a friend's face your instinct is to leap into action. You immediately ask, "Are you okay?" You instantly change your own behavior to appease them. You treat every quiet moment as an emotional emergency that requires your immediate intervention. This constant, knee-jerk reacting leaves your mind entirely exhausted. You become a prisoner to speed, falsely believing that a delay in fixing the problem will lead to disaster. This is the exhausting habit of living on high alert. You spend your days acting as a human radar, endlessly scanning for threats that are not actually there. Buddhist wisdom teaches that between what happens to us and how we respond, there is a quiet space. In that brief space lies our entire freedom. The practice of mindfulness is not about never feeling afraid or uncertain. It is about extending that brief pause before you act on your fear. In Buddhist thought, impulsively reacting to every ripple in your environment is a deep form of suffering. It shows a lack of trust in the natural unfolding of the moment. Buddhism reminds us that we do not have to immediately answer every alarm bell. Our fearful mind rings. We can simply watch the bell shake. Imagine a small, wooden boat navigating through rough, unpredictable water. When a large wave suddenly strikes the side, a panicked sailor might violently jerk the steering wheel to overcorrect. But this sudden, aggressive reaction is exactly what causes the boat to capsize. The experienced sailor knows better. When the heavy wave hits, they grip the wheel and simply hold steady. They pause. They let the boat rock, tilt, and shudder under the weight of the water. They wait for the wave to pass beneath them before they decide what direction to turn next. The pause is what keeps them afloat. Your immediate reaction to someone else's quietness or distant look is that violent jerk of the steering wheel. When a family member walks in looking upset, or a co-worker sends a blunt message, you instantly assume the worst and fire off an anxious response. You overcorrect. You try to steer their emotions back to safety before you even know what the wave actually was. And just like the boat, your panic only creates more turbulence. Think about your own life. How many arguments, misunderstandings, and exhausting nights of overthinking could have been entirely avoided if you had simply waited an hour before reacting? What are you so desperately afraid will happen if you just let a tense moment breathe? Pause. Breathe. The next time you feel the urgent need to ask, "Are you mad at me?" or to quickly over-explain yourself, stop. Count your breaths. Let the silence hang in the air. Observe the deep urge to react without actually giving into it. Do not let your fear steer the boat. Because peace is not found in having the fastest reaction to every problem. It is found in cultivating a stillness so deep that you no longer need to react at all. But to master this quiet pause, you must learn to choose something far more difficult than trying to fix things. And this is where the next truth begins. 7. Choosing rest over resolution. What if giving yourself permission to stop searching for an answer is the only way to finally find peace? Here is a truth that goes against everything your anxious mind believes. We have been deeply conditioned to believe that rest is a reward we only earn after everything in our lives is perfectly resolved. You notice an unreadable expression on someone's face. You feel a sudden, heavy distance between yourself and a friend. Immediately, your mind insists that you cannot relax, you cannot sleep, and you cannot be at peace until you have cracked the hidden code. You push for closure. You analyze the quiet moments from every conceivable angle. You sacrifice your own internal sanctuary because you believe uncertainty is dangerous, and you will not allow yourself to simply rest until the emotional equation is perfectly balanced. We exhaust ourselves chasing a finish line that constantly moves, waiting for other people to give us the all-clear signal before we finally take a breath. In Buddhist thought, the endless pursuit of closure is just another profound form of attachment. It is the ego, demanding that the world be tidy, predictable, and fully explained before it allows you to feel safe. Buddhist wisdom teaches that true peace does not require a neat, satisfying ending. It requires a radical acceptance of the unfinished, the unresolved, and the messy reality of the present moment. Buddhism reminds us that rest is not the absence of unsolved problems. It is the deliberate, courageous choice to detach from them. Imagine sitting at a wooden table in a dimly lit room, staring down at a complex, tightly tangled knot of heavy rope. Your anxious instinct is to sit there for hours, picking at the fraying edges, pulling violently at the loops, straining your fingers in the dark, desperate to force the rope straight. But the harder you pull and the more frustrated you become, the tighter the knot pulls back. What if, instead of fighting the rope all night, you simply set it down on the table, turned off the light, and went to sleep? The knot will still be there tomorrow, but you do not have to hold it tonight. In your relationships, when a conversation ends awkwardly, when a message goes unread, or when a partner walks away upset, your mind treats their mood exactly like that tangled knot. You lie awake in the dark, mentally pulling at the threads of their silent behavior, trying to force a resolution before morning. You sacrifice your own biological and spiritual need for rest because you mistakenly think you are responsible for untangling their mind. You deny yourself peace because you are waiting for them to provide the answer. Think about your own life. What heavy, unresolved knots are you currently holding in your hands? Are you denying yourself rest because you are waiting for someone else to explain their feelings? What would actually happen if you simply put the knot down and walked away for the night? Pause. Breathe. You do not have to finish this puzzle today. Let the uncomfortable feeling of being unresolved wash over you without fighting it. Give yourself permission to rest in the middle of a messy, unexplained moment. Do your part. Offer kindness, and then close your eyes. Because peace is not the absolute guarantee that everything is perfectly fixed. It is the profound relief of dropping what you cannot carry. But to finally drop that heavy weight, you must learn how to return to the only place where you are truly safe from the noise. And this is where the final truth begins. 8. Returning to the present moment. What if the only place you ever needed to be was right here, perfectly safe inside your own quiet mind? We began this journey looking at the heavy exhaustion of trying to read between the lines. We looked at the sudden, suffocating panic caused by a single furrowed brow, a slight shift in tone, or a fleeting, silent glance. For so long, you have lived in the exhausting future, trying to anticipate someone else's emotional weather to protect yourself. Or you have lived in the painful past, replaying old conversations, searching for the exact moment you made a mistake. But in both places, you are entirely absent from the only place where peace actually exists. Here is the ultimate truth. The moment you stop analyzing a small facial expression for hidden meaning, you finally return to yourself. You return to the present moment. Buddhist wisdom teaches that the present moment is the only true refuge we have. In Buddhist thought, anxiety is often just the mind abandoning the body to go fight a ghost in the future. When you frantically try to decode the silence of another person, you are abandoning your own center. You leave your own quiet sanctuary to wander, lost in the chaotic, unknowable maze of someone else's mind. Buddhism reminds us that true liberation happens the exact moment you stop wandering and simply come home to your own breath. Imagine a single, bright candle burning quietly in a dark room. Outside the window, a massive storm is raging. The wind is howling, shaking the glass and pulling the heavy trees from their roots. If you constantly stand at the window, obsessing over the wind and staring into the darkness, your mind becomes the storm. You feel the panic of the bending branches. But if you turn your back to the window, sit quietly on the floor, and simply watch the steady golden flame of the candle, everything changes. The storm is still happening outside, but inside the room, there is only warmth, there is only stillness. In your daily life, other people's unpredictable emotions are exactly like that storm outside the window. Their silences, their distant looks, and their sudden frustrations will always exist. You cannot stop the wind, but you can always choose where to rest your gaze. You do not have to stare out the window until you are exhausted. You can return to the quiet room of your own presence. You can watch the steady flame of your own breath. Think about your own life. How many years have you spent staring out the window, terrified of what someone else's changing weather meant for you? What would happen if you finally decided that you are allowed to be warm and safe, regardless of what the rest of the world is feeling? Pause. Breathe. You have carried the heavy burden of decoding the world for far too long. It is time to set it down. You do not need to figure out what that passing look meant. You do not need to solve the mystery of their silence. Do your part, offer your quiet kindness, and then return to your own center. Trust that the present moment is strong enough to hold you exactly as you are, without you having to fix a single thing. Let life be messy. Let other people be complicated. Make space for rest, even when every answer is not available. If these lessons touched your heart, share this video with someone who may need a little more peace today. Peace was never outside of you.